A lot of questions I get are about MPC or Machine and which one should I use. Now, MPC has been around for years, and Machine started in 2009. MPC started in 1988. So one's been around for 35 years, and one's been around for about 14 years. Now, these are mostly just softwares that are not DAWs, but they're softwares that help you create beats and some song structure before you take it further. And what's cool about them is that a lot of guys have been doing hip hop on here. And also, hip hop is permeated through a lot of different other genres. And also, a lot of guys doing other genres find this to be a great way to create and start using these softwares to create a basic structure around a song, or even to create an entire song within the same software. So here we have Machine. This is the Machine, and this is our UI, our user interface right here, as you can see. And in the Machine, you can see here on the left-hand side, we have our browser section. And I can actually close this or open up either way. I can go to here, click here, and I can close it out or open it up, and I'm back in my browser section. And I can choose anything I want in this browser section that has been supplied to me from Native Instruments, the guys that create Machine. So here, for example, we have the projects, which would be songs I would load up here I'm working on. Well, these are actually projects from Machine and the company. And here we have all groups. I can have a group of drum sounds and drum kits, right? So if I click on, let's say, this one right here, and we click on this, it loads all these drum kits in here, these sounds in each one of these slots here, as you can see, right? I can clear these drum sounds too as well. I can come in and start from the beginning again and say, I want something new. I don't want that in there. I'll say, sure, discard that. And we'll discard everything that's here within the software, make it much easier for us to deal with it. So those are groups. And if I come to here and I do a project, I would load an entire project. Come to here, let's say go here, discard anything else that's in there, and it loads something new. Now here, once it loads a project in, I've got a bunch of stuff here. I have a sequence here. This is my grid view. These are still the drum sounds, well, actually samples rather. All these samples load in. But also, this is a project. So if I hit here, I will hear this stuff play right here. Let's stop that. I hit the play button to stop it. And you'll see here, we have a view of everything that's pretty much going to play back from the first bar to bar 14. And each one of these slots here, from A to F, are like groups. I could have synths, I could have drums here, I could have kits here, I can have percussion, I can have some rises here, and of course here we have the kick stomp. So each one of these, as I click on them, you'll notice them here within our grid view, the name of them, and the sounds that are each on the sound slot or not on the sound slot, right? And I can come to percussion here, I'll see that. I come to the first one, synth, I'll see all the sounds here for synth. And this is generally how it works inside of Machine. Now, if we look at the MPC software, and we get over to this MPC software, which is right here, with MPC software, you'll notice here we have something similar, but you really can see that this left-hand side here, we do not have a browser. Now, if you want a browser view in the MPC, I can hit X, and then I would get different expansion packs I have here in the MPC. And these packs would have some of the same things we just saw in the machine view. Like, for example, the program would load up, and this program would load in here, and we would see this program, and it would have some of the same ideas with all these pads light up. You'd have a bunch of samples, and you'd see them in terms of program, not in terms of a project. I can also have sequences here and load those in too as well. So if I click right here, and I want to load something in, I will load in sequence. The sequence loads in right there. We can see the sequence loading in, right? And we get the boom bap kit, the kit that goes with that sequence. So this brings the sequence in. It brings everything here. It's going to play back, and you can see that. Now the differences here, you'll notice too that this is just a program. So when I load the machine up, and we see Maschine, let's go back to Maschine right here, and we see Maschine, we load up all this here, right? This is just one rack, but we'll load up, a project will load up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, A through A2, whatever it's gonna load will load in. That means I have a bunch of different groups right here that will load in totally inside the system, which makes it kind of cool. So I can load in a lot more when I'm actually loading in with Maschine in terms of the project. Now let's go back to our MPC software. So here in MPC, I can have this one track play straight through. And you see the pads light up right here for what's going on in the system. And it's kind of cool how that works. And I can hit these pads and they represent what's going on. But we don't get this line here like we have in Maschine. That line appears here actually. The line of what's going on here in the pads. So here, for example, I've got the pads here. I have to play the pads from over this side. I have to hit these pad numbers, and I will be playing the pads. I can play those pads right there. Now, once I go to Maschine here, I have no pads unless I go to here, and I can have pads right here. Let's say we go up to this kit right here, and we'll see. When they load, there are no names here, just pad numbers. To leave the pads, I go back to the list. I can see a list of every pad right here. And I can also do padding here and volume here for each one of these pads right there. When we go to MPC, we don't get to do that from the pad right here. I have to hit a pad, let's say right there, and it will appear right here. I can change the volume of that particular sound. I can come to here. Bring it totally down, not hear it at all. Either way, it's still playing in the background. See that? Until it dies out. So I don't actually cut that sound off. Now, the difference that we'll see inside of Maschine as compared to the MPC is that when I do load something, I have a view here of the song in terms of these little blocks right here, right? And these tend to be patterns. So, for example, here I am on my 808 Southern kit right here, right? And I'm noticing I got this going on here, and I can come to here, and then I can see other things here in the control section. I'm adding like some sort of effects just for this one particular group, which is the 808 kit. So when I'm in this kit, I have the ability to add sounds and effects right here, which is kind of cool. Now, once I get to here in this kit here, and I'm pulling this down, I can see different patterns too. So here's my different patterns. I got a pattern here, which is a pattern 2. Here's another one, which is another one. This pattern here. I can switch between different patterns. And you see these patterns right here. Now, when I go to another view here, I'll see in this other view here, I'll see everything. It's like a song view. And so I can do from here, I can see what's going on here. So actually ideas of how I can arrange and sort of look at sort of stuff. I may say, well, this could be the intro. I come to here, this is the bridge, or rather the build. I can say the build's here. I want to use this for the build, and I want to use this for the build and use that for the build. And I say, okay, we'll play it back. I like that, don't like this, don't like that. I'll go to here, I like this, I like that. I'll go to here again, intro. Turn this off. Double click, double click, double click. Go here. Hit this. And so I can test the build. I can build up and arrange my views around to see how I want this to play totally. And I can come back to here and just watch the whole thing just play. As you can see, I've added some parts, taken them out. So let's go back here again. You see we got 3 parts playing there. I go to the intro here. I have 3 parts playing. And we go back to here. We'll see those 3 parts appear right here. So I can change and figure out what I want to play for each section. Now, when I go back to the MPC, this is what a lot of guys have been complaining about. There's no arrange view. And they want to see an arrange like there is in the MPC Force and in software like other software like Ableton Live. So a lot of the softwares have the ability to do this. And a lot of guys want to see that happen in the MPC, kind of in a certain way. Now, as you see these softwares, you also probably realize that they're almost similar in many ways, right? So here, as I was showing before, I've got this drum sound here. And as I change it, you'll notice here, I can add stuff. Here's a maximizer, a transient master, an EQ right here. Let's scroll down further. And there are a lot of effects built into this one sound. And you can hear those sounds. Hear the reverb right there. And so I can apply these sounds directly, or these effects actually directly to these sounds here. As you can see, for each one of these pads, we'll say, if I want to. Now on the MPC side of things, here if I have a sound right here, and I want to add an effect to it, I've got to route that effect into the machine. So for example, I just hit this sound, and you'll see here's a delay here. Here's another one, which is an air kill. And we have we can add 2 more effects, inserts inside of this one sound. The differences inside of Maschine is that I can just keep adding. I've got this one sound here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can have 7 different inserts applied to the one sound, which is kind of really cool because sometimes you may want to add more than just 4 inserts to that one sound so you can create a real different sound by applying different effects. That's the differences you can see here between Maschine and the MPC software. Now also here in Maschine, I have the ability to not just pick the factory sounds. I may have my own sounds. I can come to here, and this represents me, the user, and I would have my own projects I'm working on right here. Then I would have my own groups. I would make my own kits. I would have here also my own sounds, all sounds, instruments too. I can create instruments. I would come here and do this for effects, make my own effects. I can come here also and have loops, add my loops in, I have one-shots. Now once I get to here, I'm adding stuff in, I can also click on to here and I can see a lot more. I go to here, I'll click here in projects. Let's go to here to groups rather. I'll go to groups, I'll click here in groups, I can see my MPC. I can go to right here, which are sounds. I see MPC sounds. But I get to instruments though. I click on instruments and I will see a bunch of different instruments here. Let's go to instruments actually, here we go. Well, we can't see that right now actually because I'm in my own sound. But I come to here actually and I go to instruments and I'll see the instruments here. I click there, I can see all the instruments that are here. I don't have instruments, but actually these instruments are the ones supplied to us from Maschine. And these are a lot of instruments I actually have here. While as you saw before when I was in the MPC, they recently started coming up with more instruments. So I would be able to see those instruments if I go back here to settings, open settings up, and I would go to activate plugins. I could see all my instruments here. Now there are more instruments from Maschine than there are from Akai. So Akai is trying to catch up on that way. Now the differences are, of course, that this is a computer software, and Akai is known for standalones. But Maschine has always been a computer software. When it came out, that's what it was, and you got a controller with that to work with that software. That's one of the main differences, that Maschine has always been in the computer. While Akai wasn't, they were standalone, and they started getting to the computer around 2012. They've been actually making software since then. And they had the Renaissance, the Studio, and the MPC Fly. Now, they've come a long way now. They have a software that works both ways, whether it's going to be in your computer or in the standalone. Now also, you'll see here in the MPC software here, there are many things you can actually do. You can come to here. I got a view for a track view. I've got a program view here. I've got a sample editing view. And so here in sample editing, you can see everything you can do here in sample editing. You can come to here, I can pick slices, I can discard stuff, I can delete, and it'll give you a diagram. Like if I want to discard something, that means I want to keep this section right here, and I'll get rid of the front and the back, and this section is kept. Let's cancel that. I can normalize samples too. I want to normalize stuff right here. So these are mostly a lot of basic stuff that all samplers tend to do. Let's look at Maschine here. And once I'm Maschine here, I get to hear the samples. Let's say I want to pick something else. Let's go pick out this this kit here, and I'm going to look to hear this drum here, and I'm going to go to here and click this section right here. And these are the samples. I can record a sample now on this track. I can edit the current sample that's in that particular track or on that drum pad. I can set it to be slices. I can set it to be zones. I can create a zone on a keyboard and say, well, it's going to play this section of the keyboard right here. As I hit this keyboard, it goes higher and higher up in pitch. That's that same one drum sound. And so I can actually do stuff like that. I come back here to edit sample, and if I want to edit the sample, I have some of the same ideas here. I can stretch the sample, I can copy it, I can also go to here and normalize the sample, as you can see there. When I say truncate here, you like to truncate, allows you to cut the beginning. If I come to here, cut the, wait, let's grab this here. Get the end here and bring this into here, I can just keep this section here, and I would say truncate, and it would do that, as compared to the MPC, where it's called discard. Now you'll see here we have truncate, normalize. I can reverse the sample. I can fade in, fade out. I can correct any problem with this DC correction. I can also silence a section of the sample. I can cut sample parts out. I can copy a sample, and I can paste something inside of it too. And I can duplicate or even stretch it, time stretch the sample. Now this is the same features you will see here on your MPC. We can delete, we can silence, we can extract, we can normalize, reverse, fade in, fade out. We can pitch shift, which is a little different. And we have time correction also. I can gain, change, and I can copy. And what's also in this MPC, I can do bit reduction, and I can go from stereo to mono. But basically, these functions are the same in both platforms. Now, as far as what you like and what you don't like, you have to already know how to use or understand how a DAW works and how one of these systems work. This is not a DAW. This is essentially sort of a scratch pad to create your music. And mostly, a lot of guys use it to make drums and take samples and to get these sounds together that they want to use in their basic structure. They may bring a keyboard player in to play parts because now these softwares offer like keyboards, as you can see, and different sounds that will play different instruments. Well, it could be a string, it could be a trumpet, trombone, it could be a whole orchestra section, and just play piano too as well. And that's what makes it cool. So these softwares are somewhat very similar, but they have been in battle since the year of 2009. When Maschine came out, it changed the entire platform and all the idea of just having an MPC. MPC wasn't prepared for that, and so they went into this platform as well and tried to copy them while still keeping their same MPC standalone classic traditional ideas of creating music on an MPC. So they're doing both now. And now the Maschine has also a controller as well. So this battle's been going on for a while. You've got to decide what you want. Now, in my opinion, what do I think is the best device? You know, it depends on what you're doing. I like Maschine. It sounds very good, and I like it a lot. I like MPC too. I like that a lot too, because that's the first thing I've actually used as a Maschine, as a software. I tend to do what my clients want to do. And I will sometimes use Maschine and not use MPC. And sometimes I have MPC, I want to work on MPC. But I have the ability to take anything I use, any one of these softwares, and go back and forth. If I'm working on MPC and a client wants to go to Maschine, I can take his stuff that's in the MPC and then go right to Maschine with it. But if you're starting out and you're trying to get something down and you think the cost is the problem, you can get the MPC software or get the Maschine software, and you can have an easy time working with them. And of course, we have videos on that as well. Now, if you have any questions about how to use the MPC and the Maschine software and want to know more about comparison, you can actually join us at sampletokings.com, or you can watch more videos here, but you can also leave a message at the bottom of this video, and we will promptly respond to those messages. Now, also inside of here, we have a mixer. So here inside of Maschine, there's a mixer here. And so our mixer's right here. And this is the mix we would have. I'd have a track here and a track there, as you can see. And this is designed for the group, right? And I can go to right here, and I have tracks here for synths. And I have tracks here for the rises. Whatever rises I have, the tracks will be here. Some of these sounds are empty, so nothing appears in them. And so this is what that looks like. And you can tell the effects right here. And I can come to here. These are the drums. This is another drum kit. These are percussion right here. And you can see we can actually sort of change these sounds here through our mixing system. Here's my main out. If I play this back, you'll see the main out here. That's plugged to the headset, right? And this here, that's the output that goes through my system. You'll see the sounds appear here. If I click right here, I can see each track, or actually each group, and the tracks in each group will sort up, right? I can go to auxiliary, I can grow this list and figure out what I really want to do. I just go to here and squash it down to just that. Stop that. And so I can do whatever I want to do inside this mixing system. Now, when I look at the MPC and I'm mixing, I need to come to right here. I'll open this up. And here's my mixing system in the MPC. And it's almost traditional in a way where I can see them like I'm on a mixing board, which I do prefer actually this way to see anything in the MPC, right? I can come to here. I can bring this down. That's just a group, right? There's only one group in here. So this is my overall master output right here. And you can tell by having this king right here, that's output 1 and 2. Now when I go to machine, that master output is right here, as you can see. But it's a smaller view than I would see normally. So I may want to come to here, cut this off, and try to see it even wider and create a much bigger view of my tracks. But it's a little small to see somewhat, to see everything right here, but you do get an idea of all the effects that are being applied. And of course, I can keep adding more effects to every track, which makes it kind of cool. Even here inside my master, I can add a whole bunch of effects right here and pull them right into here. I can go to internal. I can look for effects I want to add. I can add an EQ. I can come to here. I may want to add a compressor. I go to internals right here. I get a compressor here. I can keep adding more here. Now, the one thing I don't like about the MPC, when I go to this view here, and I look at this view for my mixer, and I see it right here, I can only add 4 inserts here and 4 inserts here directly on the master output. Now I normally use these mixing boards that we have in these systems to create a file I would give to a rapper or a singer or to a company I'm working with to do a commercial, or with a person I'm working with to help build a film score and have a bunch of samples they can use. So what I normally will do is I'll use these outputs and these mixing boards to create an overall ending product that someone can hear what it sounds like, and we can go from that point on. But as you can see, these systems are similar in many ways. Now, if you have any questions, just hit me up below in the video, and we'll go further inside anything you want to know about your MPC and your machine software for a comparison, and I can give you my choice of what I like the best, really. And that's it. Thanks.